In 2019, I started my own supplement company. I made creatine and electrolytes, I combined them, and I sold them as a product called Creolite. Now, I went through a white label supplier, and I remember going online, and it looks like the website always looks sketchy, but I started emailing back and forth to the people, and we're like, this is what I want to create, can we create it, how much is it, here's the label, here's what I'm trying to do. And I remember calling like 1 million insurance companies and trying to understand how to get insurance for Creolite. And it was almost impossible, and everybody was super rude on the phone, and it was like, I remember maybe a week or 2 weeks of literally calling people 6 hours a day just trying to figure out what the heck I can do. And finally one person was like, hey, the company that makes these supplements usually have an umbrella insurance that you can just tell them that you need insurance and they will sign you under theirs, since insurance is so expensive for supplement companies. And I was like, why wouldn't someone tell me this like the first call I did? Instead they were like, oh yeah, it's $100,000 a year or something crazy. It was ridiculous. Anyway, fast forward to, I think my first run was 100 supplements, and I remember signing that check and not having a lot of money and not knowing really how any of the ins and outs. However, this group is called Massive Action for a reason, so I would always take massive action on any of the ideas that I had, and I would run them to the end. I would run them to the end, meaning I would figure out if this is something I really want to do, and or determine like what it's going to take to be successful at it. So those first 100 bottles, sold pretty quickly to my friends, to family, to people who I talked it about. I opened a Shopify. This is how I learned kind of like basic Shopify. And what's really cool is, while I sold this product, I ended up meeting somebody that did personal training with me. Now this is, according to him, he's a world-renowned copywriter. I don't really know exactly his credentials, besides the fact that I know he makes a lot of money copywriting. So I won't say his name, but he again runs a really successful business that is based all on writing, but that's not what copywriting is. If you don't know what copywriting is, it's essentially writing of marketing material. So when you get an email or when you read my description on posts, that is copy, because I'm writing marketing material, trying to get you to figure out if my product or service is right for you. Is it going to get you out of pain and whatever. So the reason I bring him up is because he was super passionate about helping me, and I didn't realize what he was doing for me and giving me until now. He essentially Mr. Miyagi'd me. He gave me a bunch of these tasks that I didn't really understand. He helped me build a funnel, which I didn't understand what that was. He gave me my first marketing book, which was by Russell Brunson. So if you guys don't know, Russell Brunson's like a famous marketer. Kind of maybe not older school, but before Alex Hermosi, Russell Brunson was the guy. At least that's what, my buddy told me. So my buddy had taken multiple companies to multi-million dollars. He has made millions of dollars doing copywriting. And companies would hire him and essentially help them build funnels and build marketing strategies to be extremely profitable. Now, again, I didn't understand the intricacies. I still am kind of surface level on this. However, everything he taught me, I see it being applied today at what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. I had no idea that's what I was doing. So let me explain a little bit about the supplement. So after selling the first 100, he was like, dude, this is such a great product. We could do a ton with this. I'll help you. After our training sessions, because we did personal training, after our training sessions, we'll just sit down and we'll figure out our levels. What is our initial offer and what are we going to be offering throughout? And then he told me, he's like, hey, you're going to make a video every single day talking about your product in some sort of fun way that is engaging. And at the time I was kind of it's 2019, so I had only been a year into Meme for Time. I really wasn't making skits with me in them. If I was, things would be completely different. But anyway, I was just doing videos on my personal page, trying to get people engaged and trying to explain to them what Creolite was. So it was fun videos like, I can't even remember, actually. I need to look back on what the videos were. I can't even think of any of the ideas, but I remember for 30 days, okay, one of the videos was me, I had a barbell, I had a cowboy hat on, and I dropped the barbell thinking like, that's a good hook, right? Somebody's gonna watch that. And then I ran up to the camera and I'm like, if you need to take Creolite if you're dropping barbells or something like that. Anyway, all of these things that he was giving me were super valuable for marketing, and they got me nowadays going, oh my gosh, that's why he was telling me to do this. So In the social media group, in the community that I run, I tell people, like, you need to be trying to find your dream audience. And that's something that my buddy was always telling me. Who's your dream audience? Who's your dream audience? I didn't understand why we needed a dream audience. And now I understand. You don't want to make content, and you do want to make marketing material to the people that you're trying to get attention from. So I'll give you a different example, kind of like in a different world. If you are a CrossFit gym owner and you're in an area that most of your clients are, 35 plus, and they have full-time jobs and they have kids and all of these things, your marketing material shouldn't be this D1 athlete who's like superhuman. If you want to be like this guy, you're gonna, all he does is train all day. None of those people would relate to it. You want to get the attention of your dream audience. So it'd be better actually to have, hey, this is Daryl. Daryl's got 2 kids. He's 47 years old. He's never touched a barbell. He came in here and we've changed his life. And, Daryl's freaking jacked and looks good. And you see a before picture of Daryl and he was overweight and, he was sick and he's on blood pressure medication, whatever. So Scott hammered this into my head. You need to be making your content and your copy geared towards a specific audience. So that really has stuck with me, and that's something I talk a ton about. Having goals. It seems so simple, and I think a lot of people overlook having goals. If you don't have goals, you can't really take a specific direction. And what I hear before is if you're ever in the woods and you're lost, what you do is you don't walk around because you end up walking in a circle. Is you hold on to something and you look at something in the distance that you need to get to, and you walk towards that specific thing and you grab onto it, and you are kind of like centering yourself and you're making sure that you're going in the right direction. So while your goal is to get out of the woods and find a river to walk down to get out of where you are, you can't do that by just walking around aimlessly. You have to start in a specific direction. And guess what? Even if you go this way and you realize that you went the wrong direction, at least you chose a direction, you went in that direction, and you determined that this is the wrong way. And so many people think that the wrong way is bad. But going the wrong way is good because you determine how not to do something. And this is something that Scott would always tell me. He's like, it's good if you make 30 videos that fail because we have 30 ways and 30 things to not do. And that gets us closer to finding the one thing that's going to work and it's going to get us to the right direction. So even if your goal is simple and it's the tree that's in front of you, like 5 feet, make sure it's known that that's your goal so that you can do things that are super intentional. His copy, the way he wrote things made so much sense to me. And what's funny is I remember in advanced college writing, one of the classes I took in college, I did really good. And the first paper we ever wrote was about why do you think you wouldn't do good in this class? And what I said was I typically write in my own voice. And a lot of teachers had always marked me down for that. I don't know, for some reason. It was like, this paper seems like you're talking. And I'm in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, right? You should be able to hear my voice in my marketing. You should be able to read it easily. And it doesn't have to be at a suit. I don't have to write eloquently and super advanced. I need to make it easy to understand so that more people can read it and that's exactly what I almost said his name. That's exactly how my buddy would always tell me. He's like, when you're writing this marketing material, you want to write it at a 3rd grade level. It should be simple. It should be like you're talking to them because more people can understand it. If you have a piece of marketing material and 1% of the population can understand it, it's probably not going to do very good. But if you write something that everybody, majority of the population can understand, already it's opening up the door for more people to see it. And that's something that I never thought about, right? You'd think, oh, I need to write this in the most advanced way possible, when in reality, you need to write things simply so that more people can understand it. And then you can bring them through your funnel and or bring them into your community and speak more advanced, but you have to reach out to the most amount of people first. So we have goals, we have our dream audience. Then he talked about an offer. What is your offer? You need to make something so good that you feel stupid saying no. And this is actually something that Alex Ramosi says a lot of, but my buddy always would tell me. He's like, you can't just sell your product. Your product by itself, yeah, you can market it and you can do this, but you need to come up with some sort of offer that makes people feel dumb saying no. So we ended up making, which I thought was crazy, but it was essentially like get the product practically free, pay for shipping. So we made it, like shipping was like $12 because the weight and the size and whatever. And the product cost me around, is actually like $14. So we were losing money, but that wasn't, the goal was to make money on the sales, and we finagled it and figured it out to make it worth it. But the idea was, you want to make an offer so good that people say silly saying no. So if your offer is just what everybody else is doing, well, it's just, they can just then compare the offer to other people doing the exact same thing. But if it's something that nobody else is doing and your offer is just absolutely incredible, then more than likely people will understand the value and be willing to pay the price for your product. And that's, again, Alex Hormozi talks about that a lot too, but my buddy was hammering this in. Another thing that we would always do is test and measure. Never would I tell my buddy, hey, is this a good idea? And he would say, oh yeah, for sure. He would always say, I don't know, let's test it and measure it. And coming from somebody you thought that was an expert, it was almost kind of like, don't you know what you're talking about? Shouldn't you know if this is going to work or not work? And obviously, yes, there's a level to that. There are things that are best practices and things that you should do, shouldn't be doing. However, I come to realize how valuable it was to not go from a mindset of, yeah, do this, it's going to work for sure, and let's test it, let's measure it, and then let's determine what the best option is. This helps you determine a better option than, even if your idea was good, if we tested two and this one ended up doing better, well, now we have an option that is even better than the decision that you would have made. And that goes for email marketing, videos, copy, etc. Is this hook good? Let's try multiple hooks, all types of things like that. So we're in 2025, that was 2019. What I determined, and I think this is a super valuable lesson that a lot of people, they kind of skip, is I tried it. I ended up ordering 1,000 bottles. I sold the 1,000 bottles. And along the way, I realized that all of the things that it takes to have a successful supplement company, I was not passionate about and I did not want to pursue. So as I went through those goals, as I learned all of this marketing, as I made those videos, all of the emails, all the funnels, at the time, I didn't really understand why I was doing it. And now here I am so many years later. I'm super grateful for that opportunity that I had. I'm super grateful for the experience. I am also grateful for realizing that that's not something I want to pursue, because I never have to think, what if? If somebody comes to me and is like, do you want to do a supplement company? If they really want to do a supplement company, here I would list all the things that I'm not willing to do that I know that we'd have to do to be successful. It's like, if you want to do those things and you're willing to do all of those things, I'll do marketing and I'll do the other stuff, and I'm down for that. But it comes with a lot of other stuff that I don't want to do. And I'm super glad that I figured that out. On top of that, all of the marketing, all of the lessons that I learned were super valuable. I'm using that now to share with my community. And what's crazy is a lot of the things he taught me, the principles are what I use on social media and what I've used to grow on social media. And yeah, without that experience, I wouldn't understand these principles. So the simple principles that I told you about, that's what I learned from him. Making those videos and failing and selling 1,000+ bottles and using Shopify and doing email marketing and building a funnel and, reaching out to people, being consistent, all of those things were incredible. I'm super happy that I started a supplement company, but I'm also super happy that I don't have a supplement company anymore. And that's my supplement company story.